Hey folks, it's Scott at the XFed Homestead. Well, today I got a quick project for you, something that I can do here in the garage fairly quickly. And what it is I'm going to make fire starters. I ran out of fire starters. I've been running my wood stove for a couple of weeks now. And these are homemade fire starters that work better for me than things that I can get in the store. So I'm going to show you how to make those in just a second. Well, making fire starters is pretty easy if you have all the ingredients. I have a bunch of egg crates here that I've gotten over the years, and I just keep them. I don't really use these large ones too much, so I use them to make the fire starters. And I have some candles here that I've gotten at yard sales, and friends have given to me who don't like candles, or friends who don't use candles anymore. So I got a bunch of different colored candles, and also I've got some crazy wax figurines that I think the kids made them when they were little. So a box of these I found in the attic, and it's probably time to put them to better use and recycle them. So I'm going to recycle all these little figurines that they made out of different colored waxes. So to start, it helps to have something to melt the wax. I just happen to have a device here that melts wax. That's what it does. I can't recall where I got it. I think my mom had it for crafts, and when she was downsizing, she got rid of it. Anyway, it ended up in my hands, and it's the perfect thing for me. You can also use a pan or anything else that you have that you don't mind getting wax in. So anyway, once you have something to melt it, you melt your wax, and you combine it with sawdust into these egg cartons. And I'll show you how I do that. First, I got to grab a little sawdust from my chop saw area. Well, I just moved my chop saw to another location where I needed it for another project, and all this sawdust was underneath it. And I also had some that was in the bag in the back of it. And so I emptied this out onto the counter here. So I'm just going to take all of this sawdust, put it in a quick bucket so I can clean off my workbench here and get some sawdust and recycle that for another purpose. There, so that's plenty. So anyway, now that I got a bunch of sawdust, I can just fill this up with a little bit of sawdust in the bottom. I just sprinkle it in with my fingers, no big deal. And I'm going to layer it with some wax. And the great thing I like about making these fire starters is essentially you recycle everything. You're recycling old candles, old wax toys, old sawdust. You can see, I'll pull this grate out of here. These candles melted, and they left all their wicks in here. So I can take those out of here. Put those there. Now, just take we use this can of evaporated milk, and I'm just going to pour some wax in here. Don't need so much, just get it absorbed in there. And I'll take another layer of sawdust. And while the wax is still hot, I kind of push it in a little bit, make sure it gets in there. You can take a nail. I got a 3-inch screw here. I'll just mix it up. Make sure that sawdust gets down into the wax. The good thing about these is that they're also waterproof. So if you're camping out in the rain, you can use these fire starters out in the rain as well. I ideally you'll have some dry wood, but get a little more wax in here. I'll put a second layer. So I'll get 18 fire starters out of this. And a little more sawdust. And then you just let them set up. And tomorrow, you just bang them off. You'll have extra sawdust on the top, so you just bang it out back in your sawdust bowl and you can make some more. But I've got a bunch of these egg crates, so I'll make as many as I have sawdust. And I can always make more sawdust. That's no problem at all. And with the candles, just to melt them, break them, throw them in here, and they'll melt. And it doesn't matter what color it is, red, white, I've thrown them all in here. So I'll just break all of these and let those melt for a while, and then I'll come back and make some more. So I make them for a year or two. Whenever I go camping, I use them. So they're very useful for me for fire starters, and they don't cost me anything. So you can get a 40-pound box of fat wood for 40 or 50 bucks and try to use that. But I find that these are more effective, and I've had no problem with them in the wood stove at all. And that's what they look like. So when you need them, all you have to do is just tear a corner off, and there's your fire starter. Light the cardboard here, and the wax and the sawdust will burn together, and that's that. So you get 18 to a package, and you can carton them up like this, or most of the time I just rip this off and I stack them one on top of the other, and they last me for a couple of weeks each one. So I'll make enough for the winter. So that's how you'd make fire starters. This is Scott at the XFed Homestead. We'll see you next time.